What was it like being David Bowie at 50? Well, you're about to find out as he talks openly about his life and music now in a film that contains flashing images and spiders from Mars.
Oh yeah, I saw Dave Bowie's on the television tonight. So what's on the other side?
Okay, in 3. We come to New York to pick his brain about the past and the future, all right? Okay?
Why did you kill Ziggy?
Give me another run at that. In 3. Heroes! Heroes, we can work with that.
Pop stars.
Welcome to a very special program on location in New York City. This is going to be an unusual program. We're going to use a cut and paste technique. I'm Avi Lewis.
We're down here in Soho, on Broadway.
And employing David Bowie's own cut and paste non-linear technique to throw together Ziggy Stardust, the Thin White Duke.
Looking for a Bowie that was no longer around.
Yeah, it's a feather Bowie, actually.
Feather Bowie.
The wasteland 80s years of pop stardom. I lost myself halfway through there. The Diamond Dog who's barking from the alleyway down the street. There are the Diamond Dogs. You're going to get a bizarre and exclusive look at the 50 years of his life so far.
No, it is Bowie.
Okay.
Actually, you're one of the few people in the Western Hemisphere that get my name, pronounce my name correctly. It's often Bowie over here. Hey, Bowie. Bowie.
The pop star, who also fancies himself a sculptor, a painter, an actor, an artist, is turning 50. And we've come down to New York City to talk to him about the last half-century, the next half-century, whatever happened to Ziggy, and what's a grown man doing listening to jungle music?
I'm loving it. Stay there.
Just give me a second.
All right.
Are you serious?
What do you think of that, Bowie doing jungle?
Sounds believable, but it's very interesting. I don't know. I mean, yeah, really. Jungle.
Yeah.
David Bowie, 50, doing jungle. All right. David Bowie, 50, doing jungle.
My idea is that this audience gets a sneak preview of your record, which is not out yet.
Right, so we should play a couple of little bits.
Can we see the cover?
Oh, yeah. This is a mock. That means there's lots of sellotape all over it to hold it all together. Oh, so it doesn't hold it together terribly well. The actual one that you get in the shops is a lot better made than that.
Are you into jungle music at all?
Oh, yeah.
He's doing an album that has that flavor on it.
Oh, really?
What's your reaction to that?
I'd love to hear it.
This is a photograph. It's a composite. The photograph is Alex's jacket, as you probably know. Frank Oakenfield took the photograph, and then Dave DeAngelis, who's a really good computer guy in England, computer design, squeezed in a bit of England in front of me, as I was in New York when I shot that. So that's a composite thing, all right?
Jungle? Nah. Why, is he going DJ? Is he really? Right on. Man's gotta grow.
These are two things. That's a curly... Oh, I need about half an hour for this one. That's a Curlian photograph when I was in the mid-70s, and that wicked period. I was totally immersed, man, in like Curlian energy, which is sort of a force that you find around the entire body. It may help to explain the idea of auras and healers, the energy that they have. And there was a woman, a doctor called Dr. Thelma Moss, who had a research department at UCLA, which was backed by the Pentagon, to fund the exploration of Curlian energy and what they could do with it, because they'd heard the Russians were investigating it. So she developed a machine and made me one. And that's my fingertip, you see. This is a blow-up, and that's my fingertip. And that's all the energy that comes out of your fingertip. If you take drugs or anything stupid like that, It looks like somebody's pulled all your hair out. Great clumps of it are missing. It's an extraordinary thing. That's my crucifix my father gave me, and the energy kind of goes up through that. So that's on there.
I like David Bowie. He's a straightforward, spiky-haired guy. I love him.
What do you think of him doing something that's kind of jungle-based?
What do you mean, jungle-based?
Like breakbeat, jungle music.
What's jungle music? Come on, break it down for me, man. I know you guys. You good with the words. Give me an idea about this. What do you mean?
Well,
Is it heavier? What is it?
It's a jungle thing. It's you know, there's a place between techno and drum and bass.
I don't know. I mean, let's say if he had the right people working with him, you know.
That's Gail, my bass player. Are we ready to play anything? Some of them are really like loud, you know, and there's a thing that goes like this all the way through. It's called the drum. And then a bass plays, and I do some singing over the top. That pretty much sums it up, I think. Then the bass comes in. This is the band moving to it. Oh, lead vocal, hold on. Where's me? It's just like, you know. First performance. Oh, he joins in singing as well. It's a Californian gig. Encore! That's what he sounds like. My new album's the best album I've ever made. I'd hate the impression to be that it's overriding the jungle. There are, in fact, only 3 tracks on the album that owe much to the jungle. The rest of it is more either techno or industrial oriented. But the 3 tracks that are on the album that incorporate jungle do in a fairly drastic, almost hardcore manner. We really sort of went for it. I picked up on it around '93. Some cool dude friends of mine who go out clubbing a lot in London, so don't see their mums much. They sent me a stack of stuff from the original Caribbean London guys like General Levy and the JB, and I found it so exciting. It's as exciting as any new rhythm that's going to become the vocabulary of that time, you know. It had as much resonance as reggae, or in the very beginning as rhythm and blues had, or soul music had when it first sort of hit in as a language. Then we started using jungle on stage live, and I was updating some of the older songs that I wanted to play, and I would recontextualize them with either industrial or jungle. And it really pleased us. It pleased us.
And so we did it.
And so it was done.
Why did you kill Ziggy?
What do you think about a 50-year-old Bowie?
Well, I could still admire him. I listen to his stuff every day, really, you know. I mean, he still talks to me, you know.
Why did you kill Ziggy?
Stinky weather, fat, shaking hands, dopey morning, dog grumpy nose. Little wonder then, little wonder, you little wonder you.
Is this when they say speed?
For that.
Are we on speed? Is it speed? Is it speed or coke? I can't tell.
I don't know, but it's going.
So we've got an hour for 50 years, so my calculations
All right,
give
you
us
won,
about...
1947.
Yeah. You got a minute, 12 seconds a year.
1947, January the 8th, Jackson Pollock does his first drip painting.
The day you were born.
Yeah, that's the one thing. That's the only thing that I know actually happened on the day I was born. Elvis Presley was born a few years before on the same day. So I never get a mention on telly. I'm so happy with myself. Yeah, we're down here in Soho, on Broadway. This is the Philip Glass studio. And the studio next door, it's got windows, which is the best way to record, because you can actually see the transition from day to night, you know, and you still feel human. And Philip, apart from doing his work here, lets people like me work here, and a lot of the new music types that live around Soho. It's kind of boho. It's we've got the studio next door we're recording, and this studio has become a production room. Oh, you still here? Sorry.
No, carry on. Is there a magic hour for recording as there is for light? If you're watching the day drop into the night?
Yeah, vocals just at twilight. Is that romantic? I don't know. I've become over the years, I've become a really early day animal. I mean, I'm both Iman and myself get up unbelievably early. As I get older, I get more and more selfish about what it is that I want to do that I find satisfying. And it's definitely how one should spend one's life, is because, you know, if you make yourself happy, a little bit of that sunshine can spread onto others. Thank you.
I would imagine. Have you got an audio problem?
Yeah, I just got to put this here. Seat's a little scratchy.
You said to me very forthrightly the other day that you're a culture vulture.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that people have often accused you of, and yet you claim this as almost a point of pride.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have voracious interest in the way that we put our society together. I see no problem in that, you know. I mean, because I'll hear a bit of music from 30 years ago, and I'll go, oh, this is like too weird because I'm doing something like this like right now. And this guy knew. And then I'll go and find out about what that guy was, who he was, and where he got his ideas. Did you ever see the interview that Bacon did with, Francis Bacon did? Who was it that took him to lunch?
My wife.
Jago Cluster, Glenn Branca, Kerouac, Jackson Pollock fathers and forefathers, Harmonia, Rubens, David Bowie, Peter Frampton's father, Lou Reed, McGuinness, the Third Reich, Philip Glass, Dada, Elvis Presley, the J.B., Robert Smith, Bader Meinhof, myself, General Levy, Frank Black, Turkish, Harry Parch, Mercedes, Bertrand Russell, Pete and Dud, Buddy Guy, Nietzsche, McGregor Mathers, my son E.A. Waite, my generation, the Holy Grail, Iggy Pop, Manly P. Hall, Greek mythology, Himmler, Dylan, Velvet Underground, Edgar Froese, John Lennon, not Paul, and Wildman Fisher, Noy, Bill Burroughs, Ziggy, Brian Eno, Christopher Isherwood, Colin Wilson, God, Kraftwerk, Can, Francis Bacon, Melvin Bragg. That's a wonderful piece of work. Anyway, sorry. Who's Harry Parch?
Haven't a clue.
See? You know,
but I mean, I'm dating myself.
How can we talk, you know? It's just I find all these, like, they're all, generally the things that I gravitate toward, they're all kind of outsiders anyway. Harry Parch was a total loony, lived in California, made all his own instruments, and they weren't stuck within the parameters of the usual way of tuning things. They were all split tones from, you know, C to C sharp. He had about another 4 notes in there, you know. It was like, and he used to make them out of bits of metal and glass. And there's a kind of a study university now in California, where these kids, he's dead now, but all his instruments still live. And all these kids have learnt to play them, and they found all these charts and everything, and there's big orchestra recitals now of Harry Partch music, and it's bizarre, it's so wonderful. People like that, I mean, I want to sample him. You hear it, you say, sample, you know? It's not true, actually. I don't sample anybody. We do all our own sampling in our studio, mate. Our drummer does his own loops.
The music that you're playing now,
yeah,
it makes references to the music that you played in the 70s.
Yeah, a lot. Because I thought a lot of that period was really good, and I could use it again, and so I do. I don't have any hesitancy about adapting to or borrowing styles these days, more for myself than anybody else. You know, it's sort of, the interesting thing is that as you get older and you continue working, you start to see what an enormous backlog and variety of styles that, and processes and ways of working that you have. And you think, well, those actually, it's like going through a drawer of old tools and things. You say, well, I could use that, and I'll use a bit of this as well. Let's try these. Okay, and I'll get the lathe, and I'll need one of those. Yeah, if I can get that riff in, and that riff just there, I think that's really good. And you can kind of, you know, it gets self-reverential in that. Reverential.
Oh, watch that.
Sorry, that period's over. That was my golden period.
Now you just...
I'm now in my green period. But self-referential, you know, and it's not at all a bad thing to do for me. I'm sure it wouldn't suit anybody else, but I like working like that. I think it's really interesting. It's just about passion. I think it's just about a passion for life.
Do you feel that you're proving it at 50, that there's nothing inconsistent with, you know, kicking off the second half century of your life in a very youthful genre, medium scene?
Yes. Ask me when I'm 60.
Wonder you.
Have you seen Ziggy Stardust? When I say Bowie, what's the first thing that springs to mind?
The first thing that springs to mind would be, I don't know.
Are you Ziggy Stardust? Been looking all over for you.
Someone phone me a second.
Is there life on Mars? Is there life on Mars?
I don't know. Waiting to find out.
You seen Ziggy? We're looking all over for him.
Haven't seen it.
I'll do the nasty thing of quoting you to yourself.
Oh, yes.
And then, I know this has happened to you before. You were, I think, 32 years old when you said... when you said, pop stars are capable of growing old. Jagger at 50 will be marvelous. An aging rock star doesn't have to opt out of life. When I'm 50, I'll prove it.
I'll stand by that. When he was 50, Jagger was marvellous, wasn't he? Oh, meow. So I mix all in the game. Yeah, I think it's just about passion. I think it's just about a passion for life, and I think however much your appetite sort of tends to kind of fall off at some periods, if you intrinsically have a curiosity and a love of life, which I really do. I enjoy life so much. I think that you can just, it becomes the engine of your life, you know, and you hardly notice the liver spots and all the other things that stuff. Yeah, I'm afraid so. Hello, Mum.
I guess what I'm curious about is how you feel about those.
Love ya.
Listen. Well, now I'm worth $1 million in prizes. Women torture film. Drive a GTO. I wear a uniform. All out of government law. I'm worth $1 million in prizes. I'm through with sleeping on the sidewalk. No. With a liquor and drugs. Now I'm just a modern guy. Of course I am. And that's for life.
Hello, Mum. I'm 50.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, David Bowie. David Bowie.
Bowie. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
How old is he?
He's 50 years old. Say happy birthday, David.
Hi, David. This David Bowie here?
No. He's inside.
Well, what the hell is he doing inside? We singing outside.
See, it's the magic of television. They'll play it for him.
All right, good.
Okay, thanks for your help.
Tell Bowie I said I'll see him next year.
Yeah,
when
okay.
he gets 51.
I'll pass it on.
I'll try to make it my business to be here.
All right.
You still got a funny haircut.
What was your best haircut ever?
My best haircut, this one.
You always say that.
No, I'm supposed to. This one needs product. I have to put product on this one, otherwise I look like a drowned rat. That's all that's going to come out of this program.
Workshop, yeah.
What's his product?
We must discuss product.
What's his product and how big's his spiritual organ?
What's the product? Spray, gel? Spray, aerosol. No CFCs though. Ozone-friendly spray. Yeah, exactly. But it has to be aerosol. You know, just get it without the CFCs.
It's the greatest art form of the 20th century.
Ziggy plays guitar.
Ziggy Stardust. I recognize you from The Hair. How's it going? Okay. I thought you were gone to the great beyond. What, back to Mars?
I think it was very playful in the beginning. It was playful and it was camp and it was just over the top with Ziggy. But as drugs started to take a more severe hold on my life, the ability within your conscious mind to actually deliver yourself into two separate parts disappears and the lines blur, and it's only this one formless mutant that's left behind. So it gets quite messy in there. It gets very messy in there. And by the mid-70s, I was so out of my gourd that really it was very impossible. It was all nigh on impossible for me to function in any rational way. So I didn't know I was playing characters at that time.
Why did you kill Ziggy?
I like it in black and white.
That's good, eh?
Yeah, haircut looks good. And it's American. Best haircut? I don't know. Maybe late 80s. I had a very, very, very short haircut when I was living in Berlin. Oh, guten Morgen. Haben Sie da Marlboro? Sorry, cigarette. Zigaretten. Are we on speed? Is it speed? Is it speed or Coke? I can't tell.
I don't know, but it's going.
Well, both Iggy and I felt there might be time to clean up, so we were very smart about it. We went straight out of LA to the heroin capital of Europe, Berlin. That was the smartest move we made. But you know something? We were totally unaware of that. We had no.
Oh yeah, right.
We had
right.
I promise you, we had no idea. It just seemed such a romantically historically interesting place, the Christopher Isherwood thing, and it being the gateway to Europe with all the art forms going in and out of there, and Dada being there. It just seemed like, you know, and, you know, the Baader-Meinhof and all that. There was something kind of, we felt conflict and tension in the air. God, if we can't write in this place, we can't write anywhere, you know. And we're straighten up as well. Which to a greater extent we did. It was, you know, it was sort of clean-up time. It was 3 years of going in and out of Berlin. I can't say that we lived there consistently all the time because we were still touring, you know, and all that as well. So we keep going back to the States and back to England and whatever. But I think one thing we got, it was actually shaking off the Hollywood thing, the LA thing, which, you know, it's sort of, you're served hand and foot there, and it's so easy to slip, especially when you're stoned, so easy to slip into that dependence on everybody around you. And where we chose to live in Berlin, actually not quite choice, because we both are skint, both really broke at that time. Was an average working class area, a lot of Turkish around. It was a Turkish neighbourhood. And it was pretty much, you know, doing your own shopping. I know these sound like it's tragically, you know, thinking,
yeah,
poor boy.
Yes, we're all crying.
I know, it's, yeah.
Isn't that heaven? Für einen Tag.
Well, you've read, I mean, how, you know, sort of, you get, in America, everything gets delivered to you. You phone up the shop, don't you? And sort of stuff gets sent round. Food and drugs, you know, so everything's a phone call away. But it was there was a kind of reality in that. And there's just the reality of trying to think without drugs as well. That was probably even harder. It's funny that I think the ones that had the more mediocre, vacuous personalities in that period fared far worse than the ones that really put themselves through the mill. And people like Bill Burroughs, you can't meet a healthy, well, ostensibly healthier, fitter, older guy. Everybody around him, like, they died. You know, Kerouac, who cleaned up and got all healthy, like, he's dead. You know, Bill Burroughs has probably spiked his body with more things, had more needles in him than a pincushion. Is living among us. Now, I'm not...
Yes, what does that say about you?
I'm not suggesting for one small minute that you rush out and get your junkie kit together, you know. Not at all. It's just interesting that people who make those explorations, if they go through the cusp of those explorations, they do tend to come out the other side. In a way, better people for it, you know. So that's a dangerous thing to say, but it's true in my case. I'm glad I did everything I did. I really am. I can't, who might I recommend anything to anybody, but it's everybody's own private individual needs, you know. And naturally I would advise my son not even to think about it, because I know the inherent dangers of doing it. Somehow or other, I went through a whole series of survivals and crawled out of it all. And having got away with it, I'm really glad that I did it. But it's like, if I said to my son, yeah, Joe, I think it's a great idea for you to get in the shuttle and be shot off at 1,000 miles an hour to the moon. You know, what a great thing to be able to look back on. I don't want him to get in it in case it blows up, you know. But I know what he means, like the journey is like, whoa, out of space.
His hair, tears his eyes from the screen, as his past puts him back in Atlantic City. There's not even a demon in heaven or hell. Is it all just human disguise as I walk down the aisle? And I'm gone, gone, gone. Now I'm
Are you one of these young Americans we've heard about?
Yeah.
Is there life on Mars?
There is, yeah, there is life on Mars. I mean, I always thought it was incredible that the first day that the New York Times came out, after the Life on Mars thing happened, it wasn't like banner all the way across the top. Unbelievable. There is life on Mars.
Good, good. Oh, also, we're looking for Ziggy Stardust. I know he's in the neighborhood, but you know where I can find him?
I haven't seen him.
Thin White Duke, any of those guys?
None of them.
All right.
I'd go down that way. Check
this way?
Yeah.
Great, thanks. I know he's here somewhere. I can feel him in the city.
Can you get excited by themes like that, like themes about space and pushing boundaries?
Yeah, I mean...
that you've already visited?
Well, there are aspects of new discoveries that I find tantalizing, like the idea that there's formed ice on the other side of the moon, and that there are water patterns on some of the planets. I think that it's just... I think that's scintillating. I mean, it's absolutely, definitely points to life, you know. What will we do then?
It's a go.
There was a film on TV the other night, and the creature in it was like this big bowel. It was the invasion of the bowel syndrome, I think. It was this huge, throbbing piece of organic tissue, which...
It was a spiritual organ, actually.
It was a spiritual organ. Oh, was it ever? And it would come over and suffocate everybody in sight. It would just flop over them. Well, I was thinking, you know, they better not bring any of that water back here, because if they're contained in the water, I mean...
Don't drink the water, that's what they do.
Don't drink the water. Yeah, whatever you do on Mars, don't drink the water. I think that the idea of life being a germ form, you know, is kind of... That's really fairly scary, isn't it?
And your new record is called Earthling, after
Yeah.
all of these transformations.
Well, it's rather a corny kind of manifesto that, in fact, I'm quite happy being an Earthling, I suppose.
Watching the cruisers below. Well, I'm down on the street and she's trying hard to bounce. Sorry.
My curiosities as a human being, that a lot of them were kind of, I guess, considered taboos. There were things that most people would leave alone and not bother with and not really want to investigate, because it might be a bit... The results of investigating them might be quite dodgy. And of course you get into some dodgy areas, like the whole fascist thing. But I just had to follow my nose in anything that I felt that was within me that I wanted to know more about. I wanted to know why I had problems attaining some kind of mental stability, you know, and I just had to take everything out and explore it. And I don't think there were new things at all. I think everybody has the same thoughts and wants to investigate why they think like they think and see it through. And the purging thing keeps coming up, I suppose. Shut up, Jones.
That actually, that's a theme among many, that you've visited so many things, like alien culture, which is now on every backpack and lunchbox. You know, the cross-dressing, which is now being done by basketball stars.
Who said I'd left that alone?
Visited. Oh, I see. Always come back for another visit. But, you know, so many of the things that are sort of forefront or seen as expressions of extreme culture now, the body as the canvas.
I used to be able to stop traffic quite easily by just walking down the street. No more than that, just because I had long hair.
You know, many things that you sort of checked out for the first time.
All those things. I mean,
ago.
I rushed into the my curiosities as a human being, that a lot of them were kind of, I guess, considered taboos. There were things that most people would leave alone and not bother with and not really want to investigate because it might be a bit, the results of investigating them might be quite dodgy. And of course you get into some dodgy areas like the whole fascist thing. The purging thing keeps coming up, I suppose. I think there's a bit of a Catholic in me somewhere.
Oh.
Hello, Mum.
You seen a man who fell to Earth? I know he fell somewhere around here.
No.
Light's green, man. He's talked all day.
These themes that you visited again and again, and in the current musical context, you were the first to visit some of them, although they were not new at the time. How you feel when they keep coming up, like the whole alien thing? I mean, this has been a shtick with you from
it's
way back, right?
Yeah.
Now in Jungle.
Oh, the bug-eyed gag, yeah.
Right, that one.
Little horns, green skin, kind of thing.
Now there's spacey sounds.
Way out zany wacky dude.
That guy.
Thing.
And now there's spacey sounds running
I believe
through
them though, but I'm absolutely certain that there's extraterrestrial life. I always have been. But I wasn't really trying to make a mountain out of those particular little molehills, green molehills. It was, again, it was symbolic for me. They were metaphysically in place to kind of suggest that I felt alienated, that I felt distanced from society, and that I was really in search of some kind of connection. And a long time it was looking for a religious and spiritual connection, and not really looking for social connection. But things have happened where I've developed a social connection, and I feel a little bit more relaxed about trying to sort out my spiritual life. My emotional life, no problem at the moment. Touch wood. But the spiritual life has always been a problem for me. Yeah. So I get they were symbolic. They were allegorical.
What do you make of the current fascination with alien imagery, which is so much a part of the dance scene, the
For
rave
me,
scene?
that doesn't have. That's not so. I think they're accepting the very same imagery that I gave myself for precisely the same reasons. That it's a good replacement for a formalized religion. I see. That's truly what I believe. I think there's so many of our yearnings find themselves in those mythological areas again. If it's from self-glorification with tattoos to alien beings as a supplant for a god, you know. We have to reinvent our god. We have to readapt the whole idea. Who is it that said, you know, you have to kill God to reinvent him? It wasn't me.
Why did you kill Ziggy?
Do you think that...
No.
No? Okay, good. Because I know I don't. You seem very cheerful and optimistic about what things in our culture which make most people nervous about the millennium.
Yeah,
Do you?
And there's a psychological lemming-type rush to the edge, I think,
Right.
at every 100-year period. I'm not lemming-minded because I'm just not like as others. When I'm on my own, I'm in bad company. Well, go on.
Yeah. He said, squinting horribly.
Actually, it's only the sunlight that bothers my eye. It's not... Yeah, it's the ultraviolet and sunlight. Because being a gentle and sensitive kind of dude, I'm now in my green period. I am a synthesizer. Bit of an automaton on the quiet. I'm not usually this sort of, you know, genial. You've got me in a good morning. I'm usually callous with much aforethought and calculating as well. Terribly calculating. Nothing I like better than wake up in the morning, do about an hour of calculating before I put me undies on. My wife will walk in and say, "Are you calculating again?" I said, yeah, where were you?
Well, you're joking about it, but you're known
Here
for
is your
having-
abacus. Start without me.
known for having a decent business sense, though.
It's not indecent.
Your long blonde hair and your eyes are blue.
I don't know, man. My friends aren't hip. We're just not a hip crowd. We like what we like, you know?
When I say, what kind of music are you into?
I don't know. I grew up on a lot of old school shit, like punk rock, and I like jazz, classical, anything but opera and country and heavy metal.
So when I say Bowie, what do you think of?
Ooh, that vampire stage.
Well, I tell you, you got her, ain't you? I gave up managers along with drugs in the late 70s. I was ripped off too much, and I started looking after myself. I just figured out what are the big questions. You know, what is it I was going to have to deal with? Do I want to do that gig? How much do I want for it? I couldn't think of anything else. I thought, this is why you give all this money to these men who say, you've been offered a show, Dave, and I think you ought to get X amount for it. And you go, oh, great, here's all my money. You know, because actually it's not, the decisions aren't much greater than that, really. If there's something that requires extraordinarily lengthy contracts, your manager wouldn't do it for you anyway. He'd go off and get a lawyer to do all that part. So I get my own lawyer, and I get him to do it for that job. And that's vaguely how it works, you know.
Are all managers leeches?
I don't know any. I don't know any. They're a form of species. There are species that I really have nothing to do with.
A truly alien form.
Well, yeah. Let's look under this rock here. See if there's one. Any rock and roll, you'll find a manager underneath it. You know, kind of like those frogs that just sit there and an insect comes on. Their tongue comes out, and it's like.
And sure, they feel the same way about you.
Oh, they've got lovely. Haven't you heard what they say? They've got lovely things to say about me. I say, if you haven't got anything good to say about anybody, come and sit next to me. That's. I always say that.
Felt like a good place.
Anyway, back to Nietzsche.
Back to Nietzsche.
I'm moving that a bit, so.
Okay.
My generation was so gung-ho and so pompous about what we felt was right and what was wrong. I think we had a lot to say in terms of. I think the best thing that we laid down was. I think the best thing we did was completely destroy most of the 19th century ways of thinking about how society operates. I think that we had a real clear idea of the intolerability of a class system and of that kind of elitism. I think we understood the pure, massive, inhuman bigotries of racism, and I think we felt that sexually our fathers and forefathers had brought about a lot of pain in their relationships through their attitudes to sex. We didn't get it right either, but we knew it had to move along somewhere. I think we helped create a pluralistic society, which I think was terribly important, because that was the main thing. The 70s, for me, started the 21st century. That's my good line, that, isn't it? Don't you like that line? The 21st century started, in fact, in the 70s. But only because it was really the beginnings of a true pluralism in social attitudes. And I think it had such a lot to do with the idea of breaking things down, breaking absolutes down. Your question.
The question that springs to mind at that is that it seems like a rather lofty claim for musicians and you know on one level are pop stars to affect what you're claiming for yourself and your generation as really profound changes.
Lofty claims are the name of our game, son. That's our calling card. Ideals are us. That's my management company. Yeah, I know. Well, no, okay. I don't think that rock ever has been a leader in terms of original thinking or presenting really original questions even. But I think what it does do is home in and focus incredibly accurately on how that generation of people are thinking. It reflects very well. I was always drawn to a kind of a far more rough, aggressive vehicle, you know, and I liked the music of Velvet Underground as opposed to Beatles or whatever. And with the Beatles, it was John Lennon, not Paul. And, but hey, who didn't? And the kinds of artists like Wildman Fisher and Iggy Pop and you know, those kinds of just on the outside, and something that there was some kind of, you know, like the Fan. I kind of was absolutely mesmerised by the idea of people committing emotional self-mutilation. It was sort of, you know, this kind of tongue hanging out, waiting for them to actually kind of drop dead or do something. Such a disappointment when we all clean up. God, it's such misery. Oh, sorry, no blood left. You know, it's because it is myth-like. There's some kind of an aspect of Greek mythology to all that. We are the pantheon of the, you know, of playing out the moral narratives of our time, and it really doesn't help if the actor decides he's not going to do the lines, you know.
You once told me that you lost your way in the 80s. You put it that way.
Yeah, yeah. I guess, you know, nothing always happens at once in terms of personal success. And where I was sort of physically cleaning up pretty skillfully, the idea, adapting to the idea of being kind of mainstream, I found very difficult indeed. But looking at it in a fairly sober light, I felt that I could deal with it, you know, and I just couldn't. I just couldn't.
But I think Tin Machine may have been a way for you to, that you were finding your way back to what your calling was.
Yeah, yeah. A couple of things happened really. At the end of the Glass Spider tour, which was probably my most successful tour ever. I mean, it was 2.5 million people or something saw that tour. It was just extraordinary, and I was so beat by it. The whole three-ring circus thing about it, and trying to reach a wider and wider audience, you know, without actual any kind of feelings of artistic passion at all. I didn't really believe in the material I was doing, and indeed some of it was very good material, but I just had lost the belief in myself as a creative artist. And I got introduced to Reeves Gabrels as a guitar player and just a good guy that I met during the later part of that tour. And he just very simply said, you've just got to stop doing this, you know, there's no way out. You just either, you have to stop completely and give up if you really feel this bad about it. I mean, I've been whining, like moaning and whining, is there no end to this self-pity? No, because I'm a rock god. And Reeves just said, stop, you know, just stop doing it, just stop doing it. Do what you like doing. I said, but you don't understand. He said, yes, I do understand, I've read all the books. And that was it really, and I just stopped doing it, you know, and I formed Tin Machine with the really quite clumsy idea that I could just disappear into a band anonymously. And for all the negative aspects of that, actually, it was a very freeing experience. We'd started writing in a way that that was so reminiscent of the way that I used to write. It was very spontaneous, none of it was pre-written, the stuff was vibrant and exciting. It was to us anyway, and there was an air of improvisation about the gigs that we did. The whole thing is on a much smaller scale. There was not the feeling of the entourage that one, even unconsciously, collects around one. You know, you sort of end up on a tour and you've got 150 people all told with you. And you think, where do I don't even know half these people, you know, and they're supposed to be with me on this tour. There was nothing human about it. It got them so corporate. And a machine was a real good way of sort of solving that kind of problem.
It's ironic though, because I think a lot of the people.
I feel so much better for that.
You're cleansed? Are you purged?
Yes, I feel cleansed. I'm purged.
Motion sickness bag. It's ironic though, because I think a lot of the people.
I feel so much better for that.
You're cleansed? Are you purged?
Yes, I feel cleansed. I'm purged.
Motion sickness bag? No.
No, we're Lotus. We are Lotus.
You don't seem as concerned about playing to a gallery anymore. But those are the people who would like what you're doing now.
I never did then, you know. In the 70s, I would move so fast between one idea and another. I mean, probably much faster than I move now. But the intent is the same, is that I create something out of my enthusiasms at that particular moment. I get re-enthused by something else, and suddenly I don't see that anymore, and I'm over here. And that's the way I am. I have no apology. I'm just like that. That's my nature. I'm no attention span whatsoever. Can't study. Definitely the class clown. A real exhibitionist will probably go into show business.
Let's start with where you are right now.
Yeah. So happy with myself.
Thanks a lot.
My pleasure, really. Ta-da. And I think the little house knows a lot more about it than it's telling. Don't you? So I've got nothing else. You've got 3 or 4 more rounds?
Great, yeah, sure,
let's just go for it.
Get some lunch.
And it was a nice interview. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank God we finally found you.
Oh, so you're not?
No, I'm not.
Oh, I'm sorry. We've been looking for Ziggy Stardust guys.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Any idea where we might find him?
I couldn't tell you.
I'm sorry, just said from behind. You understand? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it. I get that all the time.